Hey team, I am going to be walking you through how you can start jumping into that drafting phase as you start transitioning out from considering your outline and getting some thoughts on the page to start organizing your writing. So I have in front of you here like a really quick digitized version of that outline that I started working on in class yesterday. So as we were working on these outlines, one of the big things that I highlighted for you was that there are going to be some parts of your essay in which you cannot even kind of plan out because it's really going to be dependent upon your research and what some of your surveys and results say. So you're going to be spending a little bit of time today writing, but you might also continue to spend a little bit of time digging into articles to gather background for yourself, digging into articles to find research that you can include in your piece, and talking with some of your peers around you to get some quotes or statistics to embed into your article. So I'm just going to show you how to get started today. I do have some things that I really want you to make sure you have ready. That is like your initial introduction where you're kind of summarizing the topic and what you're going to get into overall. And then you're either working on one of your body parts, whether that is writing it, if you're ready, or gathering information for that particular section. So I was looking at my outline and there are a couple things that I might be doing simultaneously as I work today. So I was thinking about how I need a little bit more background on what some of these things are. And I also realized that I'm going to need to cite some research, cite some other sources in here. So I need to find some articles. So the first thing that I did was I went to other articles and I just searched online like AI and I found some articles. I looked at their headlines, and from there I was able to find a couple of resources where the headlines kind of match what I was thinking about my topic. So I skimmed onto those to get some background. And I'm also going to link those on my outline so that I have those to refer back to and that I can also cite later on. I also did some research just to get myself through this beginning section right here where I am summarizing what AI is. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to leave this outline up here and scroll down. If you did your work like this digitally, I recommend moving down to the next page. Otherwise, have your outline out in front of you while you work. So here's my drafting. You're probably going to have your page look something a little bit different. So for example, I might start with a headline here. I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger, make it bold, and I might say AI is artificial intelligence and intelligent choice. I don't know yet. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that in some of the articles that I see, I'm going to mimic that structure. I'm going to have a bold, big heading. I'm going to have my author listed right here. Usually it says like posted by or author, publishing date. And that would be, we'll start it on May 23rd. I'm just going to pick a random time. Perfect. All right, so I have this in here. I also know that sometimes they tend to start with a picture. I think that would be super fun to add. But right now I'm like, not the best use of my time to go in and look for a picture to add article. I want to write the article first. So I knew in my summary I had to define what AI was. And if I cycle back to some of the things I wanted to make sure, I want to talk about how it's developing and just kind of overview like why people are for it, why some people are kind of getting a little bit nervous about this. So here's what I have. Artificial intelligence, or simply put, AI. So notice how I'm making an abbreviation, but I'm first listing and naming the whole thing. You can do it in commas like that right after, or just in parentheses, you could put AI as well. So then I have a quote, a definition. That's a great way to start elaborating right off the bat. I cited where that came from. I got that directly in Google. So I just cited the Oxford Dictionary. So I have the definition here, and then I rephrased it in words that my audience might have an easier time understanding. So now I'm kind of getting into some craft stuff that I noticed, but I want to start getting my reader thinking and kind of forming their own opinion so that by the time they're done with my article, they can kind of decide like, ooh, is AI really for the better? I wrote on my outline in my initial like post that like from what I understand, it's not that horrible. So I'm definitely going to have a little bit of bias in mind. It's probably going to steer a little bit more towards my opinion and me trying to say that like we don't need to be freaking out. That's maybe my opinion. Someone else might have another opinion. How are they going to back it up and kind of sway people to think their way? That's where this can get a little bit argumentative. Some of you guys might just be really interested in the information and details on topics where you're going to be informational and try to figure out what people know. So going in on here, I have some people thinking already by asking a question. What are your initial thoughts on AI? Do you believe that it will make our world a better place? Or do you think we should draw a line in the sand on how far we can take this technology? I'm going to have to talk a little bit about why I'm asking these questions, why this article is so relevant right now. So going into this, I'm going to go on an ad. Currently, AI, changing my mind, has been drastically altered and developed, becoming more accessible to ordinary people. Special features such as ChatGPT allow users to draft entire essays by offering the computer a quick overview of ideas. While this can be used as a tool to help so many, it's still important to be accessible. If it falls into the wrong hands. Okay, so now I'm looking at what I have. I feel like I'm hooking my reader really well. I'm getting them thinking that I need to get to a point where I'm being a little bit more clear on what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to say, let's explore together if the pros outweigh the cons of AI. Okay, so I'm going to look at this and I'm kind of thinking like, okay, if I had to turn this into a list, what am I doing in my summary? So you need to summarize the topic, the reader. I chose to ask a question. You might want to start with an anecdote, like a story. You could also input a very like shocking statistic. This doesn't necessarily need to be in this order. So I need to summarize topic, hook the reader. I need to hint at what will be discussed and state a claim. That's what I did on here. My claim is that there are pros and cons, and I'm going to leave it at that for now. I might go back and edit that later. So that is all in my hook. I might need to go back and add detail, so I'm going to leave a little note here for myself. This is the beauty of using that technology. Go back later and elaborate on this is one thing that I'm going to add. And I'm going to continue working through my outline now to start adding ideas that I have. So I have some questions that I've already outlined. I might go around and quick ask people, yes or no, do you think it's helpful? Why or why not? The yes or no will be able to tell me, like when surveying a classroom, 15 students said they think it's helpful. Here are some of the feedback that they got. I'm going to take notes on some of their answers. Then I'm going to discuss it. I'm probably going to go through that next so that I can take those answers and see if those articles I pulled out really answer that. If I were you and I'm thinking about what I'm working on today, you definitely want to have your summary done. This is something that is totally attainable for you to get done today. This sample right here is available to you in Google Classroom. If you head in Google Classroom, there is a place for the summative that you can link any doc that you've started already, so make sure you get that done. Also, it has access to the elaboration checklist and this document so you can review my outline and see where I'm at with my writing so far. This is your goal today. Once you get that summary done, start working on either gathering information or publishing some of that information you've researched.